Hey guys, welcome to episode 21 of the Tea in Tokyo podcast. My name is Somya.
And I'm Ellie.
And what are we going to be talking about now?
So this week we went and visited Tama River, and we also started back at work.
Yeah, that's right. That and a little bit more coming up right now. Okay, maybe we should start with what's happening in the world right now. Everyone should probably talk about this. I feel like, everyone probably has a duty to talk about it, at least a little bit.
But I also feel like we're not really the people to be listened to or to talk about it at the same time.
No, that's not true at all. I don't think so. I think it's literally anybody in the world.
No, as in we obviously need to talk about it, but I feel like it's then our responsibility to direct people to the voices that they should actually be listening to.
Yeah, I've been pretty glued to Twitter and Reddit the last week, just watching videos of what's happening in the United States at the moment, and now actually what's happening around the world. So obviously it started off with a person getting murdered in front of people claiming for his life, and it followed with hundreds of police brutality videos, and yeah, I fully support all the protests and stuff that's happening right now there, and it's pretty cool to see that it's actually happening in other places. Like today, we saw this morning that they had taken down a statue in the UK of a slave trader, and they threw it into the river. Mm. I like that it's spreading.
Yeah, I think people like to look at America and we point a finger and we're like, oh yeah, American police, horrific. Please don't think that I hate police, by the way. Absolutely, we don't. But, it's hard to not feel something when you watch those videos, like Sonia talked about, of police brutality, occurring when they are aware that they're being filmed as well.
Yeah.
It's they're so far gone from what is normal that they don't even recognise that what they're doing is wrong.
For sure.
So, but, the cool, I say in quotations, because this is, it's horrible that this situation even had to come about. But I think it's definitely made a lot of people reflect on what's going on in their own backyards.
Yeah, it's made me think more about how much of that happens in New Zealand. And I don't think that it happens nearly to the amount in New Zealand as it does in America. I mean, our police, for the most part, don't even have guns, which is good.
However, there are a lot of statistics out there about how... So in New Zealand, there's not actually a huge, black as an African community as compared to somewhere like America. But the way that sometimes our police treat, our Māori and Pacifica New Zealanders is, reflective of what you see in America. Because I think it's so easy to hear... I always, I'm, as white as they come. So, I always try really hard to, reflect on myself when I'm looking at these situations. Because, it's all me. But, It's hard to, sometimes when you hear, a Māori and Pacifica community complaining about, police in New Zealand, it's too easy to then be like, oh, well, you don't have it as bad as America.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important to not do that and to actually listen, right?
Yeah,
to actually look at the statistics. I think I saw that, I can't even remember the exact statistic, but, Māori and Pacifica were, I think it was, 9 times more likely to have a police dog used on them.
Right.
Compared to I don't know if it was 9 times, there might be more than it was, but it was a significant enough times more likely that, you've got to sort of look at that and be like, well, that's our equivalent of guns.
Yeah, it really is. And yeah, I think this is a really cool movement just to see happening around the world that would lead to change in how policing is done, but also how racism in general is seen. Yeah, I mean, obviously we were born 40 years after, or 30-something years after, the Civil Rights Movement, so we have no idea, really, what was going on in terms of the protests there. You can only understand so much of it by reading about it. But just, we've seen so many protests happening in America the last, 10 years, every single time something similar like this happens. But this seems so much bigger than anything that's ever happened that we've witnessed. And, based on what other people are saying, this is basically the next civil rights movement kind of thing happening right now, which I think is really cool. But yeah, I don't think we'll talk about it too much now. Instead, yeah, if you want to learn more about it, definitely just probably the best resource to go to is probably just blacklivesmatter.com.
Well, we can link some resources in the description of this video.
Yeah, true. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, just educate yourself more on this, I reckon. I'm
Yeah.
actually reading a book right now. I just started reading one today called Between the World and Me, which is about like a black African American and the experiences that he's had and sort of the history of black suppression in America. And yeah, it's already really, really interesting. I'm already learning a lot. So I think that's the best thing that you can do if you're not directly involved in it. Just getting more educated on it is, yeah.
I'm also keen as like Kiwi podcasters to try like Sonia said that he tried to look for stuff, but to find something as well that's like reflective of what is in New Zealand for anyone who's interested in that.
Yeah.
Right? Like some resources. But like we tried to find some and there's not much out there.
Exactly. It's not just about the civil rights movement in America. Try to find ones that are local for your own country as well.
Yeah, yeah.
When I tried to look for ones in New Zealand, I could barely find anything. I think...
But then maybe we're using the wrong words. Like maybe the keywords we're searching are not right.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, but anyway, so for this
let's
week...
move on.
Yeah. This week, we went back to work. So after 2 months, we're finally back at work now. How's your first week going?
It's going pretty good. Like, it was more like 3 months, wasn't it? We had like a month and then we had a week back at work and then 2 months. So I'd say 3 months. So after 3 months of like barely leaving the house and like only interacting with each other, really, it was like it's like I developed like a sort of very mild social anxiety. Going to work, I got super nervous for like the whole first week. Every morning I would get like really nervous and like nauseous because I was so nervous, which was weird because I was like, to myself, I was like, what are you doing, Ellie? Why are you so nervous? It's fine. But I still got nervous. And same with like before each of my classes, I'd be like, oh my God, what could go wrong? What if I do something wrong? But by the end of the week, I was definitely, I think, pretty much back to, like, normal in terms of, like, nerves. But it was still weird, like, how just, like, 3 months being isolated made me so unsure about the world.
Yeah, I was really nervous as well. And I discovered I've got a really weird method of dealing with my nervousness, which is I have to believe that I don't care at all about what I'm doing. Which
is so not healthy.
Yeah, it probably isn't healthy, but... So we started online lessons. With the actual lessons, I wasn't too nervous about, to be honest. The only thing I was nervous about was I thought I'd forgotten my password, but I hadn't, so it's okay.
I had to change my password because I did forget it.
But yeah, the online lessons I was definitely nervous, like super nervous about. But yeah, I just honestly thought, you know what? I don't care at all how this goes. I'm just gonna do it. And yeah, that just made me at ease, made it a lot easier for me.
See, that didn't work for me because you told me to try that, but I was just too aware that I do care. Like, yeah. I've always cared about, like, I don't know, like, I'm kind of lame in that I always care about my jobs. Like, almost every job I've had. Not every job, but almost every job, even ones that aren't, like, relevant to my career goals. I've always wanted to, like, put my best into it. So, like, it was hard for me to then detach and sort of, like, lie to myself and say I don't care.
Yeah.
So that didn't really work. It kind of worked out well for me, at least, because my first online classes, I had 14 in a row, like, open slots on Tuesday. So I was like, Jesus Christ, I hope these don't get booked because I will, like, die of hunger and, like, needing to pee. And then one of them was booked for, like, 4 p.m. and I started in the morning. So I was kind of psyching myself up for the whole day, and then at 1:40 I refreshed my page and there was no class, and then at 1:43 or something I refreshed it and there was a class booked for 1:45. So I didn't really have time to freak out about it, and it ended up going really well. So it was really good because it meant that my first one I didn't have time to panic, and then because it also went well, it sort of showed me that I didn't need to panic. I still panic a little bit, but that was like, I was very lucky that happened for me.
So the first person that you had, was that a counsellor?
Yeah, so it was so the way they've been doing it is they've been trying to make it so that everyone's first online class is with one of the Japanese staff members, which in our work they're called counsellors. So mine was a Japanese staff member who, it was perfect for me because he was literally just wanting to see what it would look like for his students. So the Japanese staff members are the first point of contact that our Japanese students have with our Eikaiwa. And so he wanted to know what it looked like so he could advertise it to his students honestly. So he literally wanted me to just he didn't even want to do a fake lesson. He was like, oh, so can you open up the textbook and share your screen to show me what that looks like? Can you scroll down? And we just chatted for the rest of the time.
Yeah, that was the same with my first one as well. Just chatted, just tested out things.
I reckon, and my boss told me she came in when I had one yesterday, because I had my first real actual student the other day, yesterday as well.
Yeah.
And she told me that if there are any technical issues, they used to have all these steps we had to go through, but she realised that the thing is, the students, they don't speak enough English for you to even properly, for them to understand your explanation of what step they have to take.
Yeah.
So she was like, you know what, from now on, just tell them to restart the computer, or restart the meeting, because that's going to fix it. That's sort of the last resort, in that it will fix it if anything's wrong. You don't know what was wrong, but it will fix it. So
yeah, restarting stuff usually fixes anything.
Because we used to have to get them to check that it was plugged in properly. They had to check their settings and see if the mic was the right mic selected. They had to check their settings on Zoom.
Yeah.
And it's that's so hard to explain to someone who has, if they are a student who has really limited English skills.
Yeah.
So that was kind of nice to know, because it was that's so much easier, because my second class did have a lot of technical issues, and it was in the end the thing that worked was restarting it. So
yeah, and also English, teaching online has really expanded how many classes we can get booked, I guess. Although right now, since they haven't even opened up online classes for everybody, and even when they do,
some people
I don't know how many people are going to want to do online classes, because one of the things that people love about is that it's a one-on-one. All right, I'll cut that off. That it's one-on-one.
Well, the students are paying a lot of money so that they can interact and have a real conversation with a real person, right?
Yeah, I've actually had one of my other instructors tell me that they had students who basically said, hey, wait a minute, if we're going to do online lessons with you, why would we pay so much money? Why wouldn't we just go to another company where it's cheaper?
Or just go to Hello Sensei and do Skype lessons with a random.
And she was just like, oh god, shut up.
But I don't know if the online lessons are going to be cheaper.
Yeah, that's the thing, they're not.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're the same price, so.
Oh yeah, that's bad then.
At least maybe just for now, but yeah, they're the same. And then also this week we at work was our first times wearing a face shield.
Oh god, it's the worst.
When I was walking around Tokyo Station, every single store, everyone's wearing the face shield, and it's exactly the same face shield, with the word face shield on it. So I'm guessing they all get it from the same place. And the first time I wore it, it was terrible. It really fogs up, and it creates this weird echo when you're talking. But then I realized that's because I was wearing it way too close to my face. And when you put it on an angle, I haven't actually had any issues, to the point where the other day I left work with it on. And I didn't even know that it was on until I'd left work. Yeah, and I was walking and I was like, oh shit, it's still on. So for me, the face shield is nothing now.
Well, I think the thing is, when we were first wearing them, we were wearing them correctly. And what everyone's realised is that if you wear it kind of like a cap, really far back on your forehead, so it's still slightly covering your eyes but barely, it's way easier. So it's we're probably using it incorrectly, but the thing is, using it correctly, we don't have anti-fog spray or anything, meant that it was literally just getting so condensation-y. It was really gross. But
with a student right in front of you. Well, so that's basically it for work. The other thing that we did this week was we went to the Tama River earlier in the week. It was the first time hanging out with friends here in Japan since we've been at home.
Yeah.
So in 2 months or so.
For one of them, it was the first, because she lives home alone, so it was the first time she had interacted with people face to face, apart from in stores and stuff, in 3 months.
Yeah, I realised it's actually kind of special for us to be living together, to be able to have that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't. And I was speaking to someone at my work as well, and I told him, I was like, oh yeah, we hung out with my friend the other day, and it made me realise that it's kind of cool that, I have Ellie here at home, whereas the friend was alone. And then he was like, yeah, I don't have anyone either. And he's like, but, I spoke to the supermarket clerks, and And yeah, so he's like, at least, I've had those conversations. I was like, oh, Jesus, yeah.
It's like we were we had like Zoom chats with this friend at least once a week, and she was chatting to other people. I think she said she tried to chat with people daily.
Yeah.
So she didn't just like, I don't know, become extra lonely.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were definitely fortunate in that sense, especially as being people who are in a foreign country who have just moved here. Like a lot of people who move here come by themselves.
The Tama River itself, cool river.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Really nice, like, walkways and parks and stuff next to it. One thing, though, is there's a certain, like, concrete jungle aspect of these parks in Japan that if you're from a big city, like, I imagine if you're from, like, New York or something, you might be used to that, but being from New Zealand, I'm really not.
We're used to being immersed. Like, when you go somewhere like this, it's to be fully immersed in nature.
Yeah.
Whereas in Japan, it's like, there's no immersion.
Yeah, it's like there's so much concrete, and then there'd be like one swing in the middle where where kids can play, and then more concrete, and then a lot of like dirt, dust piles,
like patches of like dead grass.
Yeah, exactly, and the grass and the greenery that hasn't been maintained. So that felt a little bit odd to me.
I think a part of it is because there's so few spots like that so many people go that they're not going to be able to maintain it when it's not like an official spot. Like I feel like actual official parks are pretty well looked after.
Yeah.
But because this is just like the side of a river, it's like semi-maintained. Like the grass was like mown, so.
Yeah, but this isn't the side of a river in a rural area. This is right in the middle of urban life. Like, there's massive tall buildings.
There's, like, trains going past.
Yeah.
But, like, did I tell you, I had a student on Monday, my first student. It was really weird, because we'd been to Tama River the weekend before or whatever. And then afterwards, I was like, to my student when we finished, I was like, oh, so what are your plans now? He was like, oh, I'm going to go for a run by Tama River. It's my favourite spot. And I was like, I actually know Tama River. So it was really weird because we didn't think that was a place at all, but it turns out it's a popular running spot.
I had a student the other day who I asked her, what should I do in Tokyo? And her first one was go to Ueno Park. And I said, oh man, we've already been to Ueno Park, but there's still a lot of stuff to do there, so I can go back, so that's fine. And she's like, okay, fine, well, if you've already done that, then how about go to Mount Takao? And I was like, well, I already went to Mount Takao the other day.
I think we've officially been here long enough that all of the top 5 things that people will suggest we've probably done.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because, like, you can generally only do that for the first couple of months, right? Until you've done the stuff, like the popular stuff in your immediate area.
Yeah.
What was the third thing she suggested?
Well, the third thing she suggested was something that we actually haven't done. It was going to, like, the Rainbow Bridge.
Oh, yeah.
Walk over the Rainbow Bridge, and apparently there's a really nice market there. So.
Oh, yeah, we'll have to do that.
Yeah, so I said, okay, fine, yeah, that will 100% be the next thing.
Yeah. But back to Tama River for a second. The good thing about that was I feel like we got to have a cool look at, like, actual, I don't know what the word is, like, Japanese city life for, like, families. Because there was, like, quite a few people there. And there were so many people just, like, fishing in this river. Even though, like, I feel like that river would be super polluted, so you wouldn't want to eat any fish that you caught from it. And, like, like, kids playing. There was, like, so many, like, adorable kids who had these big, like, butterfly nets. And they were trying to catch bugs, and they were, like, 2 years old. So, of course, they didn't have the
true. That was cool for me to see, because I've never seen some people actually going, like, butterfly hunting before with the nets. Like I said to everyone that day, when you're playing the Pokemon games, there are some, especially early on in the game, when people have like Weedle and stuff. The opponents that you verse have a wee butterfly net, and I always wondered, man, who actually has these butterfly nets? Who's actually doing this? Because I've never seen it ever. And then that day we saw like 5 people doing it.
I think it's because we don't see it in New Zealand because our bugs are too small, whereas bugs in Japan are way bigger. So if you catch it with a net, it's like the net is big enough to keep it in the net. Well,
not really, because that's for butterflies only. We have butterflies.
Yeah, but I don't think they only catch butterflies. They catch beetles and stuff as well, right?
Maybe. But, you're meant to, like, catch it while it's like flying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's just not a kids' pastime that we have in New Zealand. Although, I mean, kids still catch bugs and stuff. So
we used to use
just don't use a net.
pretty much those same nets to catch like little spotty fish, like the types of fish that like tiny ones that swim around the wharfs.
Yeah.
We'd catch them, and when I think back on it, it was so cruel because we'd catch like 100 of them and put them in one bucket.
Yeah.
And then we'd release them, like we always released them back into the ocean, but it was still like they were probably like screwed already. Like we probably damaged their gills and stuff, which is horrible. I like feel bad thinking back on it. But as kids, we were just like experimenting and exploring the nature,
Yeah. Well, I mean, those butterflies aren't probably that happy either.
Yeah, it's probably breaking all their wings and stuff.
But yeah, there are also like people playing baseball at the park and.
Yeah. Oh, do you know what you haven't mentioned yet? Is the exciting news is we got our forms in the mail for our government stipend. Stipend? Is that how you say it? Stipend?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, that's right. So that's the 100,000 yen each that we get from the government. Apparently it doesn't take too long to process, hopefully. But yeah, we haven't filled it out yet, but we need to send it in. And then, 100k, which is really good. Like, that's going to help us out a lot because our last paycheck was 80% of our normal pay. And I definitely noticed that, like, the reduction in pay. Like, it's going to hurt us after all the bills and stuff are paid. And then next month, we're only going to get paid 60%. So,
then the month after that will be from this month's work, which is, like, very minimal work. Like, we're not getting that many bookings.
Yeah, it might not even be 50%, actually. Like, for example, right now, my booking rate is, like, 6%.
No.
Yeah.
I feel like, no, I don't believe that. I feel like you're looking at the wrong number.
No, yeah, honestly, 6%.
Is that just for online only?
No, that's for everything.
Okay, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know what mine is, but it's better than that.
Yeah, so actually, so the idea of getting, if getting paid 60% of our pay is crap, like getting paid.
Yeah, but we're also forgetting that we're lucky that we're doing online classes because our work still pays you 50% for your online classes, even if they don't get booked.
Yeah, that's true.
So at least we'll also have... We're not doing heaps of online classes because, I mean, Sonia's getting, I think, more than me. And mine, there's only 2 computers available for it, so it has to be split up between everyone. So I don't have that many.
Actually, I saw it the other day, and I think in my work there's only 2 people doing it at a time as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But yeah, the 100,000 is going to be really good, especially because next month we've already taken a week off work. So we're going to go on our first outside of Tokyo trip next month. Yeah,
we're not actually sure where to yet, but we've decided that it's happening. We're going to do a nice domestic trip.
Yeah, so that's going to be cool.
Yeah. I'm pretty excited to get exploring again.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, that's kind of it. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.